Welcome back, guys. Third year of the Bryan podcast, but we're here after a decent break. Nice to be back in the studio with you guys.
Good to be back, guys. Very nice. It feels like a year, but we were eager to get in, that's for sure.
Yeah, keen to get started again. We're looking forward to today, guys.
A much needed break, but it also gave us time to sort of sit back, reflect, and see what we were doing well and also what we weren't doing so well. So we've corrected a couple of things, hopefully, and hopefully there's an improvement on the show. I think you need time away from something to be able to actually identify certain things and certain improvements that we can make. So I think above anything else, we've managed to streamline the process going forward now. And we've got a more fluid product that's ready to go out a little bit easier. The last thing you want is for a podcast to be difficult to record because it's going to be a slippery slope to the podcast cemetery thereafter. So things are a little bit, I'm not going to say things are better yet. We might take a few minutes to get going, but at least we've improve some of the things that we found to be weaknesses last year, but we're back, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. Having a look at what we did well, what we didn't do well, the time that we've had off, I've missed this. I've missed this energy on a Thursday morning when we record. Wednesday night preparing, it's quite a thing. And I know we always end up with a quote, but I'm going to send. I saw something from a guy, James Allen. Don't know who he is. I'm changing his thing here because he refers to men, but it's everyone, people. People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. And when I saw this, I just thought, hey, this is what we're doing. We're trying to improve ourselves. A lot of the people that that listen to us, they trying to improve themselves there. So that is the biggest thing, to break through those bounds. So I just thought it was just so brilliant to start. So that's my quote for the day.
No, that's cool and very, very true. Yeah, people are trying to improve. People are trying to improve in every area. I mean, man, I wanted to start this week with a whole whack of positive news. And I don't know about you guys, but I took a bit of a break from looking at the aviation stuff so intently because we were so heavily involved in it last year. But looking at things this week, we're not out the woods by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not by a long shot.
No.
It's in fact, very little has changed right now as compared to what it was this time last year. You know,
we're probably pretty much right back there.
It almost feels
ways.
like it. But
there's a developing story in Hong Kong that scares me.
Yeah, this whole story with the local crew having to quarantine. I mean, it's ludicrous.
Local crew quarantine for 14 days and then another week for health monitoring. But there's two conflicting stories there, so we'll hold off by going too deep into that, maybe a little bit more on that next week. But there's already airlines trying to set up satellite bases around and, to try and avoid this because you can't operate like that.
No airline's going to do that. It's just ridiculous. Come on. I mean, the local crew for 14 days and then another week. Interesting enough now, maybe that's why there's a big push for all air crew to be considered essential personnel and receive vaccines like all the medical staff. So there's a big push for that. So whether or not that's going to have an effect, I don't know.
Time will tell, but it's nevertheless, I think there's other airlines that operate to Hong Kong that are also quite nervous because, if that's going to be for the locals only, will it spread to the other operators? I'm sure it will. Not great.
Bottom line is they're going to stop flying to Hong Kong. That's what's going to happen. It's the only thing that they can do.
Yeah, I mean, with all these travel restrictions still in place, which is something that we also thought, or had hoped rather, that would improve a lot by now. I mean, like the US, for instance, imposing a whole lot of travel restrictions again. It just hurts the industry a whole lot more. I see Lufthansa, well, in actual fact, Germany, are considering, nothing's happened yet, but they're thinking about just stopping all flying very soon for a short while again. because of this whole lockdown period. So
where's
it all going?
You're in a bad way when Lesotho closes its airport to South Africa.
Yeah, gee whiz.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, but let's see what happens. Can't read too much into it. However, locally here in South Africa, I mean, we're still under those level 3 restrictions. The airlines aren't exactly boasting incredible figures right now, are they? It's a little bit up and down. I know SAFE, they're hardly operating the 800s, they're operating the classics. Yeah, 70 or so % capacity I see. Still loads are up on the Joburg Cape Town route, but everything else is down. Link's the same, Mango's the same. The guys are stressing they're going to take a pay cut at the end of the month or next month. So there's a lot of stress around. Like I said, I wanted to start off this week with things are improving. We're on that upward trend, but going to be a little bit more time before that actually happens.
Yeah, look, we did know that there was still going to be an adjustment period. I certainly hoped things would improve in 2021, but obviously in the back of my mind knew that it's going to be a tough year still. Funny enough, you're talking about the airlines taking strain. Chatting to someone the other day who's flying for FastJet Zimbabwe, and they'd also said that they were actually flying quite a lot. Their loads had picked up drastically. Obviously now with this latest bit of restrictions from Zimbabwe side, it's hurting them, but they seem to be doing quite well.
Obviously, a big factor here was the implemented curfew that happened, because that throws a huge spanner in the works in terms of rescheduling, not just passengers, but crew and all sorts of things. That curfew takes away a lot of the ability for an airline to add sectors on, and it caused chaos, I know, with you, Brett, with some traveling you had planned. And it's not just the impact of, well, people have to travel inside those times. It's that people see this and say, well, maybe I'll just leave the traveling for now and wait till June, July or something. So you actually have people that look at this and say, no, it's not worth traveling at the moment, which isn't great.
Such a bullshit rule as well. How is that actually impacting this whole fight against everything? Yeah, I mean, what improvement is being made out of it?
I can't figure that out. I understand if there's a curfew because everyone's out partying, but if you're coming back and you're landing at 8 at night from a flight, just give that leeway for someone to get home. I just cancelled my flights. Well, SAFE was great. They right there said, do you want to reschedule or do you want a voucher for both ways? Chose a voucher, so I've got it there. I can use it in 12 months' time, and that's it. But then again, I was supposed to fly to Paris in March last year. My 12-month voucher is about to expire.
What happened? And I'm still not going to renew the voucher.
I don't know. I'm sure they're going to have to extend it. I haven't even looked at it. I've got to look at it.
Yeah, it causes chaos, and with your situation, it's SAFE that ultimately takes the loss.
For sure.
They now owe you a flight, and this it's just a snowball effect. It just goes on and on. I mean, you one of a few thousand people in the same boat, and it's not great.
Yeah.
Let's go a little bit more positive now. Airlink is now Africa's second largest airline. They are the third largest carrier in terms of seats, but the second in terms of number of flights. It's quite a remarkable feat, actually. I think a huge congratulations to Roger Foster and his team there. But also, all the other guys operating at Airlink. The pilots don't necessarily get a mention with things like this. It's always the owners and chief executives. But had Airlink had an incident over the past few years, they would not be boasting those amazing figures. So to all the crew, it's a big congratulations there. And let's not forget, the Airlink guys, prior to this nonsense started, they were, they operate hard. They fly long days, long hours. So, hats off to all the pilots from Airlink as well for that achievement. Second largest airline in Africa.
It's quite a thing.
That's good. That is a big
very good, big achievement. But something to add to that as well. I mean, kudos to those guys for operating the way they are under stressful conditions as well. I mean, bearing in mind that the guys aren't getting paid full salaries anymore. So You
Are
reckon
they still not getting paid full?
I don't think so, hey?
I'm not sure. Maybe you can let us know if you're flying for Link. Let us know.
Yeah, but that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Are they actually getting paid? I mean, the airline is the second largest in Africa, and they're flying hard. So I'm pretty sure the guys should be paid their full
Look,
salary.
Roger's a very shrewd businessman, and I think he looks at everything. I don't see a lot of unhappiness coming from the Link guys. They all seem quite content with where they are. And there was actually a post the other day to say they've started hiring again. I'm not sure of the legitimacy of that, but be interesting to see. And they're starting operating to Skakuza again, which is great. Probably the best tourist destination in the world. Biased, but the Kruger National Park is up there.
It is up there,
It's up
without
there.
a doubt. Without a doubt. No, the fact that the guys are there, they're flying back there, that's a big thing. That just for me, when you start seeing that, that's more the holiday vibe. Cape Town has been, Durban has been, now going back up to the Kruger. That's a big thing. Glad that's happened.
Seme has jumped on the Interline agreement bandwagon.
So is Mango.
Oh, Mango as well.
Yeah, I read something yesterday. I think they've signed an interline agreement with Qatar as well, or something like that.
Seme is with Ethiopian.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good for Seme. They seem to go strength to strength. And, at least they've got the option there of, Ethiopian fly everywhere. So, not a bad airline to be associated with. There was some sad news over the past week as well. And maybe I think we can actually dedicate today's episode to these guys. Pilot Mark Stroksrata, I hope I got his surname right. He lost his life in a Bell 430 air ambulance flying under the call sign Netcare 1. That was very sad the other day. I think 5 people in total lost their lives there. And then we also lost Chris Wood from SAA skipper on the long haul fleet. He had an accident, aircraft related accident. So very sad. He was a real larger than life character, very popular. So terrible.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rough start in SA this last month as far as small aircraft are concerned. There's been quite a few.
There has been a
There's
few.
been, in total, I think 5 or 6 helicopter crashes since the beginning of the year. And, a couple of light aircraft. So, not a great start. Hopefully, this little wave of incidents comes to an end fairly
They
soon.
always come in threes, these aircraft.
Yeah.
Double that.
Yeah.
You can always sit and think or speculate maybe it was because of lockdown and guys haven't been flying as much and skills, but this isn't really the case, is it?
No.
These were just random stuff outside of pilot skills.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Chris's one in particular, just something doesn't seem right there. So you can't speculate before an investigation's been done.
No,
but,
sure.
Yeah, we'll have to see there. But very, very sad episode dedicated to those pilots.
And all their families.
Their families, terrible. Staying with accidents, I see Ethiopian have taken over that probe into the CIA's praying that they had. I thought that got swept under the carpet, but it hasn't.
Very quickly, it's quite funny. 12 months later, after the fact, now the Ethiopian are investigating it.
I suppose you can't investigate your own praying. That's
True.
the whole thing. And obviously with all this nonsense going on, there was a delay. So at least it will be, because we need to know what happened. If there was a safety concern that could improve the safety of aviation everywhere else, after we get the information. I mean, isn't that what all the safety stuff is all about?
Yeah,
Sharing the issues that happen so we don't make the same mistake again. So we do need the information from that.
No, for sure. I think it's good that they're doing it. But Ethiopian Airlines, you see, their lawyers have been told to not accept the Boeing settlement offer as well. So Ethiopia is really in the news.
Yeah, but you wonder what the relationship between Ethiopian and Boeing is like, because it's always been very close. So
I'd love to know what that settlement figure was. But apparently it was nowhere near what it should have been.
Boeing are under serious sort of, not say strain, but they are culturally they're taking a lot of knocks. I think the there's so many articles written about the toxic culture at the top end of the Boeing corporate structure.
Look, even through this, Boeing is making money. There's no doubt about it. I think their book is sitting at 15 billion just for now, up until now. So I don't know what period that is, but it's not like there is no cash coming in. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Talking of cash.
Have you got some?
No. Emirates extended. Is Emirates our national carrier? No, it's actually not. Airlink's probably the national carrier. But Emirates have extended that delay in operating here. So that's only going to be...
When is that until?
4th of Feb.
Yeah.
That's not great because, again, it leads to all this uncertainty. So people say, no, we're not going to travel now. We're going to wait till there's an improvement. I mean...
we were chatting about that the other day, though. And remember we still said, it's a little bit weird. Don't you think there's something
else?
Another reason behind them wanting to cancel those flights? Remember, it's a bit sinister because there's a bit of suspicion about the whole code share with SAA and them.
Yeah, why they just stopped.
It just doesn't make sense.
But in saying that as well, there's also lots of reports. I mean, let's not forget, Dubai has been pretty much open during this whole period.
Yes.
So you wonder if they're not trying to just be a little bit more conservative. And obviously South Africa being so, public in the news with all the nonsense going on here, that they said, well, let's just do the right thing and not fly there for a while. I don't know. America's following suit, though. I mean, Biden is now, he's going to impose a ban on most non-US citizens entering the country who have recently been to South Africa. That starts on Saturday in a bid to contain you-know-what. And, so it's happening. It's happening everywhere. Not the best.
Sleepy Joe is making his first impact on the world.
Yeah, his first impact on South Africa. I had a bit of a rant
up and realized that there is something going on in the world. I better do something about this.
I had a bit of a rant at IATA's post last night on LinkedIn. IATA have been quite in the news with they need to do this. There needs to be a grand reopening of aviation. Governments have to work together. They've been saying this for over a year. Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened.
Yeah, it's time to walk the talk,
Yeah. Since when do IATA make... they come up with things that need to be followed in terms of travel and, if IATA come up with a bulletin, you follow that bulletin. But suddenly, no one is listening to what they have to say. Governments aren't complying. Everyone's doing their own thing. And it puts IATA in a bit of a situation because after all this, how powerful will they actually be? I think the only way they're going to get something out of this is if they get some, I'm not going to say normality, but if they get some standardization. Testing, all these things need to be standardized. You can't have like what's going on in Hong Kong now. Don't think that's going to stay in Hong Kong. That's now you're going to hear other countries saying, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that as well. So it's not good. You need standardization. And that's why they are there. So we need action.
Sounds like they've lost their teeth as an organization.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, it was never a legal requirement. It was more of this is best practice. This is how everyone should follow
and in fairness to them, they've never had to have any teeth before. They come up with best practice and then everyone else follows. Now they're coming up with a plan, but everyone is saying, no, we're not following that. So some big kahunas are required there on their side. Going a little bit further north at this stage, Europe's in turmoil. You see, there was a letter out from the, I think, Airlines Association of the UK pleading for the UK, the government there, to give, not to open things up, but to give some indication as to when they can expect things to open up. You've got airports actually considering now this week closing down just to maintain what they already have because they can't carry on. I mean, you get stuff like, I think EasyJet came up with some remarkable figures for the summer, but that can get pulled away I mean, those are all initial figures. I think they did a similar thing last year. We commented, but Europe's having a very, very difficult time now. They've basically just written this period off up to summer. And
that's a long period to write off.
Yeah,
man, that is ridiculous.
The UK has been. I mean, their restrictions are hectic. They're hectic. I mean, ours are mild compared to what's happening there. So, and aviation, of course, has just taken such a big knock. It's an island. You get there on a bloody airplane.
Yeah.
So, yeah. More positive, though.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit full of all this.
Positive.
Waka.
I forgot about that whole Qatar being blocked from going to Abu Dhabi and Dubai and Egypt and that. That's over. That was 3 years. Huh?
Yeah. But I see they're taking it balls to wall now. They're just going flat out.
Over 100 flights a week into Africa.
Yeah.
That's a lot, eh?
Best airline in the world?
Yeah. Well, they are.
Well, at this stage.
They can now fly direct. I mean, some of their sectors were 4 hours longer because they had to fly around at dogleg sort of routing. So this really does suit them.
Yeah, they didn't take things lying down in the beginning. Now they're just going to continue to capitalize on this. Well, what was obviously going to be a major cost saving for them, and that's cool.
They're going for it.
Yeah.
Emirates is going for it as well. They say they will have all the aircraft back in the air by the end of 2021. Optimistic, ludicrous, warp thinking on behalf of the operator. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments as well. Who's going to fly those aircraft? They've furloughed so many crew. I mean, are they going to take all those guys back? What was the agreement?
Don't know.
Because otherwise it's just a marketing ploy to say, no, we're going to have all our aircraft back in the air.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. I mean, the guys that were let go, would they trust the airline enough to go back? I'm sure they will. I mean, the guys are...
I think the guys would take it right now.
Yeah,
Emirates phoned you and said, listen, that job you had, right, you've got it back. I think most of the guys would go back.
Yeah.
The guys are not going to fight that.
No,
there's an opportunity to jump back into the flight deck. They're going to do it because a lot of people have still sat around waiting for things to come back. So a lot of guys and girls are going to say, as soon as the offer's there, I'm there.
The concern, I wonder if that offer comes to come back to the airline, is it going to be, here's your new contract?
No, it will be.
Plan B contract.
Nothing's ever going to be the way it was before.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Look, I still think all those standard perks will be there, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of other things that will change.
Yeah.
Just from a Samero perspective, I mean, we've been consistently busy. Our numbers are not anywhere near what it used to be 12 months ago. But we have got a lot of African airlines that are still coming here for training, which we just love. We've got out of Nigeria, the local airlines, they are training at full steam. I mean, we've even got some Somalis here, which is just so great to have all the airlines around here. We've had a couple of postponements, but it's always interesting. Ghana, the Ghanaian CIA just said, nobody go to Johannesburg. So most of my Ghana clients are saying, we're desperate to come, we booked, we've paid, but we're going to have to push it out 2-3 months.
Sure.
So that is the tough bit. But still, we've got a lot of Egyptians still coming through here, and they're prepared to, they take the necessary precautions. And it's just so great to have so many of our clients back.
And it's been consistent, Brett.
It has.
It's been, consistent. So,
yeah,
there's optimism certainly from our side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the training side, I mean, training hasn't taken a back seat. You still have to do your recurrence and all that sort of stuff. So, we're very lucky from that perspective. And we keep saying it. I said it a million times last year, but the African regional carriers at least have been very resilient. So long may that continue.
And even a lot of the airlines in our Paris facility. It's similar there. I mean, the 767, you can't get a slot in.
Really?
Just you cannot get a slot.
I suppose
I got a
large
local.
because a lot of guys are operating, cargo operators are still flying the 767, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've got local guys who are trying to get us. I'm trying to get them slots in Paris. I just cannot.
Really?
Maybe in April.
Sure.
Which is great. It's brilliant. It's terrible for the airline, but it's great for Samira, definitely.
Yeah, and the bookings, I mean, going forward too, I mean, they spoke about the Ghanaians. They didn't cancel. It's just
it's
delayed for a month.
Just delayed for a month or two, or whatever it is. But at least they've got open communication with their CA, and their CA say to them, right, this happened a week ago. They said in a week or a week and a half, we're going to meet and we're going to explain. We're going to have a look at the data with you guys. We're going to debate it and come up with an answer together, which I thought was brilliant. That they're actually engaging with their airlines to say, guys, come in, let's talk through this. This is not our decision alone, because effectively a CA can't prevent an airline flying to a country.
Yeah.
The government can, but not a CA. But these guys are working together, hand in hand, which is it's a nice new development.
Yeah.
Brett, you're a businessman. If your business was losing 1 million euros every 2 hours, I don't think you'd be too happy.
I wouldn't be too happy. However, I'd be very chuffed that I was earning 1 million euros every 2 hours.
But that's not that bad, because they were losing 1 million euros every hour. So there's an improvement there. That's Lufthansa.
That is Lufthansa 100% increase in revenue.
Are losing 1 million euros every 2 hours.
The numbers I can't even begin to comprehend.
The 340-600s there at Lufthansa, they're not coming back.
No.
Those aircraft that are in Lufthansa's long-term storage, they're not coming back. The A380s are not due to return there. They're not that big of an airline anymore if you look at their aircraft numbers. They're a much smaller airline than they used to be. That's according to their CEO. And their operating fleet needs to reflect that. Driving here this morning, it's still nice to see the Lufthansa 748 parked there on the apron, because that's about the only direct link we have into Europe right now.
So that comes up with this question between wide body and narrow body jets.
Yeah.
I know we pushed this out on LinkedIn, you did, and there was a couple of comments and that, and we've spoken about it. But it's quite an interesting debate. You can only talk about what it is now. Future may very well change it. But I don't know what your guys thoughts are.
We made that sort of the main topic of discussion today, because I found it quite interesting. I mean, Airbus's 321 LR is an amazing aircraft. It's long haul, and there's an XLR coming out as well.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for the wide bodies on the long haul routes? Are they still going to be there? I know there's the whole situation right now with cargo and belly space, and one wonders, if it wasn't for that cargo, would they actually be using a wide body aircraft? Just quickly here, because it's all related here. The airlines ranked by cargo payload for this past week, I think it commenced 11th of Jan. Number 1 in terms of cargo carrying is Qatar, 9.8% of the market share worldwide. Number 2, Emirates, 3 Korean, 4 Cathay, 5 China, and 6 only Cargo Lux. The first of the cargo carriers, number 6 there. So all those airlines are carrying a significant, and those are passenger, they are carrying a significant amount of cargo.
Are we talking about belly cargo figures or the dedicated cargo?
Dedicated cargo payloads. That's probably a combination. I know they've all got cargo divisions, but it's a combination of using their cargo divisions and the passenger carrying.
Going back to the narrow body question as well, I read that it's really like happened in the Middle East, like with Fly Dubai. Obviously Emirates, when they stopped flying last year for a short period, they let go of some of their routes. So Fly Dubai have started capitalizing on it, and they're going to open up 4 new European routes, which is like semi-long haul with the 737-800, and it's going to work out better for them. So I think it's already happening, where the regional narrow-body aircraft are going to be used on the longer flights and be considered to be more efficient.
Well, with the long-range tanks, they can do it.
Exactly.
The seats are no different.
It's just a mind the mindset change. You're used to boarding a big wide-body aircraft to travel
To
long
fly far,
distances. Now it might not be the case. Chris Ferreira, mate of ours from our previous employer, shot me a message. He said, no, when things turn around, it'll be back to long wide bodies. He might be right. But in the meantime, Airbus have definitely built a product that can be used for the lower capacity routes. You just wonder about that capacity going forward. Long haul capacity, 321 LR and XLR, fantastic aircraft. Let's just carry on with it because this subject. Air France KLM have just gone and bought 60 Airbus 220s. Old C series. 60, okay? So they've got an option of another 60 more as well. They'll all be used on the Air France fleet. They're replacing the 318s and 319s. And if you go a bit deeper into this, there's quite a few operators around the world that are actually replacing their original E-jets with A220s.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you can't read too much into this yet. Let's not forget, Embraer were hit very hard by Boeing pulling out of that deal. Embraer set their facilities up, they set their corporate structure up to be taken over by Boeing when that deal fell through. So has Embraer been hit a bit harder than what we initially thought? I mean, and I'd like to I couldn't find a direct comparison between A220 sales and E-Jet E2 sales. Can't quite find those.
Talk like it. I was watching an interesting review on a YouTube channel the other day about the Air Tanzania A220 because they were the first African operator to acquire one of those airplanes and start operating. It's a phenomenal airplane. It's I hope to see more African operators get their hands on those types as well.
It is a great aircraft. Benjamin Smith, the CEO of Air France KLM, he says in his words, it's the right size and it's ultra modern. That's it. So simple as that. Prepare to see a lot more of these aircraft around the globe in the near future. The first one for Air France then will arrive in autumn 2021. If you got any insights there on the whole Embraer E2 story versus the A220s, let us know. It's an interesting story.
It's very interesting because Boeing's not holding back with the Max now because it's EASA's approved it now.
Yeah.
So you can expect Maxes to be flooding into Europe.
But check this out, Brett. Let's have a look at this. Talk about manufacturers. You think of two, Boeing and Airbus. All right. 220 numbers for Boeing. Okay, this is deliveries. 157 deliveries in total for Boeing. Breaking those down, that's 43 737s, 5 747s, 37 767s, obviously all for cargo, 26 777s, 53 787s. All right? Bulk of those, a lot of those are freighters. Go to Airbus. 566 total deliveries.
Jeez.
38 A220s. 446 A320s. 431 of those were Neos. 19 A330s. 59 A350s. And 4 A380s. 566 deliveries for Airbus. 157 for Boeing. And of course, look at Airbus.
Wins.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Airbus have got the A220.
Yeah.
Boeing have got nothing in that bracket. They were supposed to have the E-Jet, not there. The 350 is way more popular than the 78 by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Everyone's using that 350 as their flagship aircraft.
Yeah.
Qatar, they use that 350 every time they go somewhere new or important. It's a 350. So the numbers for Airbus way up on Boeing.
I'd love to see a breakdown of those numbers as to what regions of the world they're going to.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of the 320s are going to the Far East, India region, all of that type of stuff. I know that
India, Indigo, I think, was one of the biggest purchases. I stand to be corrected, but they well up there. But now you go a bit deeper into this. Boeing cannot give away a 777X right now. Tim Clark reckons 223, 224 possibly at Emirates. It's a very, very slow process. Obviously, a subsequent result of the 73 MAX verification, where Boeing basically got the FAA to stamp that approval by the looks of it, and now they're going particularly slow. But that 777X not doing them any favors right now. It'll be nice to see that aircraft flying because it's beautiful in the pictures. But that's not going to be for a couple of years. Emirates have put their hands up and said, I don't know. They don't know when it's coming. So topic of discussion this week, long haul flying on narrow body aircraft. What's your thoughts? Let us know. I've got no issue with it as long as I don't even watch the TVs there anymore. Take your iPad, watch your own stuff.
Yeah, I think they're going that way. There's a lot of talk about trying to lighten the load in the aircraft. So with all the Wi-Fi technology available, it's going to become like that.
Take your iPad, download from Netflix. You got hours of movies or music, or whatever. You don't need anything else.
With the Wi-Fi connectivity available in aircraft now, people can do what they normally still stream while you're flying. So
Wi-Fi is becoming standard now by the looks of it.
Yeah, totally.
I'll never forget the days we had to turn your phone off because Wi-Fi, you couldn't have any of those things.
Yeah.
All that
very
rubbish.
Different.
Although South Africa probably still got that law. You always
I think so.
Yeah.
I come to think of it, like on the bigger Aries, business class was a thing because they had the size and the capability to accommodate business class seats. But going forward, air travel, will be about affordability and everything. So the days of paying for a fancy business class seat are going to be probably pushed aside, I'm sure. Businessmen are probably not going to travel all that much, so it's not really a thing anyway. And
in saying that,
whether you're sitting in economy or in a bigger aeroplane or in a smaller narrow body aircraft, there's a difference.
Who cares?
Exactly.
There was obviously a lot of the talk last year. Everyone's doing meetings over Zoom and all that. I notice there's a lot of articles written now about the importance of a face-to-face as well. At least people are starting to realize that there is a limit to meeting over the web.
Yeah.
That face-to-face.
It has its restrictions,
So there will still be an element of business travel. It's not that business travel is falling away. It just depends how much. And I suppose it's the companies as well, maybe a bit tighter on just sending 10 people overseas to go and have a quick meeting where they'll possibly send one or two guys. So
and I'm also sure that the big businesses that do rely on face-to-face meetings are obviously going to be the types of companies that have their private jets anyway. So,
you're right.
So
you're
I know.
right.
Of course I am.
Yeah, anyway.
Well, as soon as we're ready, guys, let's get our private jet.
As we
Please,
said,
can we?
I wanted to start today. I wanted to start today with a huge amount of positivity and positive news, of which there isn't much. It's that whole thing in Hong Kong has put a spanner in the works because we got friends there. A lot of South Africans are there. A lot of guys still look at Air Hong Kong as a possible recruitment option in the future. Now you look at that and say, what's going to happen?
Let's put things into perspective though quickly. Is the news isn't positive, but we're going to remain positives within ourselves.
Well,
it's reality. Yeah. We're dealing with reality at the moment, and there's going to be positive news and there's going to be negative. Right now, it's weighing over into the negative. Yeah. But if we look at our environment, a lot of the people that listen to us, they have that positive vibe, that energy. That's why they're here. We've had, during the time that we haven't been on, we've spoken to a lot of people that have got out there. They've realized the pain, and they've said, screw not having the confidence or the knowledge. I'm just going to get out there and I'm going to go and do something.
Exactly.
They've overcome the fear. All of those things are just so critically important. And we spoke about doing something different in that. And I've just been talking to so many people about what has made you get up and do this. Okay, empty bank account is a big driver and hungry kids. Yeah. That will make you do something. But it's gone beyond that for a lot of the people. I think there's a lot that are still sitting back, which is an interesting thing for me as to, is this pain not enough for you to actually get off your ass and say, I'm going to make a difference to my life?
I'm going to do something.
Do something, yeah.
Yeah, I think the reality, is the different world, and you've got to adapt to that different world. But it has been great to see so many guys taking the initiative and starting some cool things. As always, I'm going to end on a real positive note. South African Airways is now the world's most environmentally friendly airline. It's managed to reduce its carbon emissions to 0 over the past 8 months. Well done, SA.
I think a big hand for SA there.
Well done, SA, and all involved for this remarkable environmental achievement. I'm sure sizable bonuses will be paid to all the ministers and ANC government officials for this wonderful news. Until next week. Cheers for now.
Cheers, boys.
Fat cats.